Mi papá immigrated from la belleza que es Medellín, Colombia, to Miami, Florida, all with one goal, pa echar pa'lante la familia. And with that same spirit, I started the Que Hola podcast. It's all about sharing the journey creatives from the 305 and beyond have traveled, the W's, the L's, pitfalls, and lessons, all with a focus on first and second generation Latinos, pero para todos los creatives. Entonces, parce, Que Hola contigo. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you stream your podcast. I'm your host, D Fig. Oh, also, we're on YouTube. Listo.
Hey everyone, this is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is Season 5 of Pero Let Me Tell You. Terminating his partnership with The Gap. I didn't even know he had a partnership.
Well, yeah, that's the trash bags.
Of The Gap?
His whole thing was that his new collection was going to be displayed in The Gap in trash bags.
How did I miss this, being that I
That's
like
why
Kanye West and I like
The Gap. That's why when I came in, because you're having your whole bathroom gutted, I was like, oh, did Kanye West set up a pop-up on your front lawn?
Oh, that's why you said that.
That's why I said that, yeah.
Well, everybody, with Kanye West, The Gap, and trash, welcome to episode
221.
221 of...
Did you forget the name of our show?
Better Let Me Tell You. You know why?
You're pretty tired.
No,
so
you know why?
I'll forgive you.
Because when you said now 221, I was thinking, oh, we should do something special for 227. So then I was thinking of Mary.
Can you imagine if I'm like, I'm glad you said that. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack A.
You know what's so funny? That like when you say Mary, you're saying somebody else's name, another character's name.
No, but it's
to
Sandra.
think of Sandra.
It's Sandra. Yeah. Yeah, it's Sandra.
You know, one of my favorite scenes from Family Guy is the one of Jack K in the supermarket buying mayonnaise. And she's like, Mary.
Did you see what she did this week? Which I thought was... I sent you the link. I don't know if you saw it.
I know she did something this week, but I can't remember.
Well, on Monday, Sheryl Lee Ralph won Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy.
Yes.
And I have watched her speech on repeat the whole week. But she is only the second Black woman to win that award, and Jack K was the first.
Yes.
So Jack K sent out a tweet congratulating, her and how, it took 30 plus years or what have you, but like, thank you, welcome to the club. Very congratulatory, whatever.
Jack K won for 227.
227, right.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was the only thing that would be better than Sheryl Lee Ralph winning is Sandra Clark congratulating Ginger.
Yeah.
Like that's the only way this got better. And there we are,
That is awesome. It's funny because Sheryl Lee Ralph, I know her from It's a Living, the TV show, which for those of you who know what that show is, you'll get the reference because if you know that show, you know that show.
You know that show, yeah.
But it was the show that ran in syndication in the that show had a very interesting run. It started like 1980, and then it ran for like 3 seasons, and then they didn't produce it for like 4 seasons.
But then it came back in syndication
in the mid 80s, and then it ran for like another 5 seasons in like syndication.
It's an interesting trajectory.
It gave us Crystal Bernard.
That's true.
Yeah.
And, gave us a little more time with Gail Edwards.
Yes.
Before Full House.
Yeah. So, but that's where I know her from. And I think
that was my first exposure.
I think I've said that show was the first time I ever heard The Wiz, the songs from The Wiz.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's on down the road. I don't know. I guess I hadn't really watched The Wiz.
Right.
I mean, I was like 7.
That too.
And my parents didn't speak English, so
these are all factors.
These are all things that I had against
factors,
me.
Yes,
But good for her. I feel that Sheryl Lee Ralph is one of those people. I mean, it's great that she got the Emmy, but I feel she's one of these people that she doesn't get her flowers.
She's underappreciated.
She is. And
if you love her, you love her.
I didn't realize. Because, I don't know much about musicals, that she was in Dreamgirls.
She was one of the original girls in Dreamgirls with Loretta Devine.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So this is a woman who's had a very long career.
Yeah.
And I feel that she's always been a working actress, right? And then, of course, she was in Moesha.
Yeah, she never went away.
Right. She was in Moesha.
Right.
Sort of like Jackée. They've had very similar trajectories.
And this is why they could. I want to take them both to brunch.
Well, because Jackie's one of these people. Yeah, Jackée was in 227, but then she also was on Sister Sister forever.
And now she's on Days of Our Lives.
Yeah. Yeah, and somehow she is still here, you know?
And she did guest stars everywhere. She was on Girl Meets World for a couple of episodes.
So good for her. Good for her.
So congrats to Sheryl Lee Ralph.
Actually, now that we were talking about that, and how is everybody? Did everybody have a good week?
It's Friday. Everybody's good on a Friday.
So this week in pop culture news, that whole tweet came out or Instagram post of Britney with the Christina dancers and all that.
Essentially fat shaming Christina and then not fixing it with her apology.
I know she issued an apology, but I didn't really read the apology. Because here's the thing about Britney Spears, and as far as social media goes, I don't like to kind of dwell in somebody's train wreck or when things are going not well for someone.
You don't appreciate Schadenfreude.
Even when it's a despicable person, you know,
right.
And like everything is piling up against them, you know, I'm like, okay, if they're a terrible person, okay, yeah, justice is served, but I don't enjoy that. I don't take, you know, like, it doesn't make me happy, right? The same goes with like Britney Spears posts. There's clearly a mental health aspect there.
Something's not right.
Something has not been right aside from the conservatorship.
Right.
Something has not been right, you know, for a while regarding her mental health. And that's okay. So I don't like to read. I don't follow her on any social media. I don't like to be like, oh my God, did you see what she posted? But what the heck is wrong with her?
Right.
You know what? I don't like to dabble in that, but obviously I do know about the tweet or the Instagram post of this week that went around the world. So tell us exactly what what do you think about that, and what did she exactly say for those who haven't heard it?
So I'm actually looking for the post in and of itself. I'm actually not even going to her page because I don't know if it's still there.
Delete it?
You know what? Let me check because she may not have actually deleted it because God knows Britney's favorite thing to say right now is, you know, everybody can kiss my ass. So, you know, when she's thinking everybody can kiss her ass, she probably doesn't care if it's still there or not. So let's see here. Okay, let's see. There's her apology one. Okay. I wish I could have chosen the nannies. Where is this? Oh, I think she edited it. Because it said, I found the post. Where she had said it, and it's different now. Oh, no, here we go. Never mind. Okay. Her initial post was, I wish I could have chosen the nannies for my children. Sure. My dancers. I mean, if I had Christina Aguilera's dancers, I would have looked extremely small. I mean, why not talk about it? Don't you think my confidence would have been a bit better if I could choose where I lived, ate, whom I called on the phone? Right. Essentially. So if we take that sentence, if I had Christina Aguilera's dancers, I would have looked extremely small. What does that say to the average person? Christina had some thick dancers because they had to pick people who were bigger than Christina to make Christina look small. That's the logical application of a statement like that, right? Okay. So then she replies in her apology, by no means was I being... Oh, and she posted like 2 pictures of 2 little fairies holding hands. By no means was I being critical of Christina's beautiful body. It is what it is. Now, that's a little backhanded compliment right there. Okay. I flew to see her show once, and the main thing I noticed was the difference of our people on stage. By no means did I even mention Christina. Look at my post. I was inspired by her show, and she is a beautiful woman of power. Thank you, @Xtina, for inspiring me. Now, I think Britney should take a look at her post, because she does not mention... She doesn't say Christina was fat, but she says, look at Christina's dancers. So you do mention her. Yeah. And then to say, my favorite part, honestly, is like, you know, Christina's beautiful body, it is what it is. It's like... You know that... It's like saying, you know... Yeah, I mean, you have a big, ugly nose.
I think
what are you going to do about it?
Christina Aguilera looks 100 times better now than she did when those first few
Dirty?
years. Her first album, Dirty.
No, the first album she looked cute.
She was too skinny.
Okay,
she was,
but she looked typical.
Ella estaba, to quote Cuban lady, raquítica.
Okay.
Like she was very skinny.
And she has always said that she has struggled with her weight, especially, that
Christina Aguilera?
Yeah, Christina's.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that in those first few albums,
they're like, you have to be stick thin.
She was like on a major diet,
See.
all that. But she was very thin. Like I remember, I told you when Dirty came out that she was like the chaps and all that. I'm like, ella es un palo with that. Like she
Yeah.
No
la sentaba.
Right. And I think that after, especially that she's older now and post baby, that now she's like more voluptuous. Like I think she looks 100 times better now than she did. I don't know if she was referring to like old, like classic Christina or current Christina.
That's a question for the ages.
Yeah, and I realize that obviously she went through a lot, but we can't Britney, but we can't also turn a blind eye and be like, well, you can say anything you want now because you've been through a lot.
Right. I think the thing with, and I saw somebody post something, and again, we at this point it's all speculation until we all read the book. That God bless those editors.
There's gonna be so many run-on sentences.
Those people, whatever they're being paid, is never gonna be enough. But I read somebody posted something that's like, we all sometimes have to remember that because of the life that she's led, and I'm not saying this is an excuse, but because of the life that she's led, Britney is mentally at like maybe at 14 years old versus like, because look, let's be honest, let's use somebody comparable. Madonna's Instagram is a shit show. I mean, she posts whatever she wants, when she wants, if she wants, how she wants, and when she wants, right? Fair enough. But even still, Madonna's posts are still, to a degree, Madonna brand.
Oh my gosh. Although she's another one that, if I was her PR person, I'd be like, Madonna,
you're going to give me the phone for a minute. Right.
We're taking your phone away.
Right. You can access your Instagram between the hours of 3 and 4 every day. But Madonna is not verbal diarrhea.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like Britney is just kind of, I don't know if it's a result of the conservatorship not allowing her or whatever, but I think her posts really, even before when the conservatorship was going, were not exactly cohesive.
They never have been.
Which is why when people were like, oh, it's her dad doing the posts, I was like, I don't think so, because if he was doing the posts, I think he'd clean it up a little more.
I'm just surprised that even when she was under the conservatorship, they let her use her Instagram.
Right. So I don't even know that she interprets things the same way that we would, to take a step back and kind of say, let me, sometimes you write things out on social media and then you read it and you're like, I'm just going to delete it and not post it.
Right.
I don't think she has that part of her medulla oblongata,
right. I don't know. I hope she's getting the help that she needs.
I hope so.
We all need therapy at one point or another. She has been through a lot. We've talked about this at length here. She has been through a lot. She's gone through things that nobody can imagine, but she also needs to, unfortunately, she was put in those situations, but she also needs to do the work of moving ahead. And I don't know if she is, maybe she is. And, also, I think a lot has to do with, celebrities live a very different life than us. And,
especially when you've been doing it that long.
Right. And a lot of celebrities have handlers that curate their image and but handlers that do their social media and there's a very curated image and all that, and clearly she doesn't. And clearly, like, somebody like Madonna doesn't either, because I don't follow her either on social media, but I do see her posts from time to time, and I'm like, somebody needs to take this woman's phone away. Like, está fucking loca. Like, this is not cute. This is not fun. Like, this is kind of stupid, Madonna. Right. Somebody who's like as iconic as you are, like, these Instagram posts are like,
yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah, and like these filters are getting out of hand. Like, you look CGI.
She's hanging out with Khloe Kardashian.
Yeah. So whatever.
And Brittany, if you were someone who knows you is listening, you can always use code BERO at BetterHelp.com for 15% off your first session.
Man, talk about product integration.
I'm just going to put that out there. You can go ahead and do that as well. But something else that started this week, it started Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes, the 15th to the 15th.
Yes, so it ends on your birthday.
So nosotros somos atravesados.
But I do love that it ends on your birthday, though. I feel
Yes.
like, you know what? They waited until you were born so they could have a celebration.
Yes.
So, you know, as we know, Hispanic Heritage Month, it goes through lots of iterations. And it's one of those weird celebratory things where some brands join in and some brands don't, and then some do, but they do it badly. And
Like Pride.
yeah, it's even weirder because like Pride, at the very least, you kind of slap a rainbow on it and move on, right?
Yeah.
With Hispanic Heritage, it's too many flags.
Right. You have to actually have some type of content.
Right. You actually have to have like something, you know, there.
Yeah.
So something that caught my eye, and because I'm a big old comic book nerd, is DC Comics has actually come under a little bit of criticism. Back in June, you don't know this, and some of our listeners probably don't, but solicitations for comic books are printed and released so that retailers can buy them like about 3 to 4 months in advance. So, you know, you're seeing things in June that are going to come out in September, October, etc., right? So what they do a lot of times, DC and Marvel as well, is they'll come up with covers for their comic books that are in commemoration of whatever event is happening that month. So in Pride, there are certain LGBT heroes. They'll do, you know, special covers with those heroes, etc. So for Hispanic Heritage Month, they did covers with all of the Latin, Hispanic, Latinx, you know, cultural heroes that they have. Great, right?
Okay.
Perfect.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
But I feel there's a but.
There is a but. You know, it's great. You know, you had like Green Lantern. You know, Green Lantern Jessica Cruz. Blue Beetle is Jaime Reyes.
Green Lantern.
There's a lot of Green Lanterns. The Green Lantern is like an intergalactic army.
Oh, okay.
And Earth has about 4 that are assigned to our sector.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So,
I didn't get that memo.
No, I see that. I saw by your look of shock and surprise, you were like, "Wait a minute, when did it become a woman?"
Well,
and a Hispanic
remember,
woman?
my only reference point of that is Super Friends,
Oh, that was a while back.
and there was the Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Are there several Aquamen?
Well, there's lots of Atlanteans.
Go on.
So, you know, there, you know, the covers are all of the different. You have a question.
Does he have a counterpart in the Pacific?
Well, no, he's the king of the 7 seas.
Then why are they Atlanteans?
Well, because they live in Atlantis.
Okay, but
Atlantis is the name of the actual city that they all live
oh, so they live in the lost city of Atlantis?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know Aquaman was from Atlantis.
in. Yeah.
Okay, move on.
Well, for Darian, this is the learn portion of the episode.
Again, all these people, I know them from Super Friends. Now, I loved Super Friends,
Right.
But that's it.
But Super Friends was not very in depth.
That's where
right.
it started and ended for me.
Yeah, I see that. So somebody noticed, and I'm actually bringing up all the pictures to show you, that there was a common theme with all of these covers. Now, aside from the common theme that they were all Hispanic and Latino, they're all holding food. So, for instance, in the Kyle Rayner,
Let me see.
the Kyle Rayner Green Lantern, he has a bag that says tamales.
Okay.
Jessica Cruz appears to be eating, I want to say like a burrito.
Okay.
Jaime Reyes is eating what looks to be like maybe a quesadilla.
Okay.
And then Hawkgirl, Kendra Sanders, is at una ventanita, which I'm thinking she's probably Cuban American because it's platanito frito and it looks like what is a bottle of Havana
Okay.
Club.
Was this okay?
And they're all different artists.
Okay. Was there a common theme here on purpose?
Well, that's what people are saying. And on top of that, so the one that I showed you about called Kyle Rayner.
The reason is because
Well, here's the thing. Hold on. Before we move on, the Kyle Rayner one. Okay, this was the one with the tamales, right?
yes.
The artist had also submitted this version, which is him holding the Mexican flag.
Right.
They went with this.
Oh.
So, right, because my initial thought was like, okay, there's an editor involved here who makes these assignments.
But here's the thing: that even if it was done on purpose, which clearly it has to have been. I just think it's very lazy that they just slapped some type of Latin food on them, and that's
Right.
it. Let's call it a day.
Well, and
it's sort of
what
similar
I
to what
found-
you said of Pride, that they just slap
the
a
rainbow
rainbow
flag and call it a day.
Okay, well, let's put, mofongo on you, or
Right,
you know,
yeah, or una croqueta,
una
and
croqueta,
ropa vieja,
or
yeah.
a burrito,
Yeah, and call it a day.
And that's it. It's Hispanic Heritage Month. Yay!
Right. What I find a little, and again, I showed you the two versions of the Green Lantern Kyle Reiner one, is the artist, as far as I recall, and I even double checked with Alex, who works in the industry, they were all by Latino artists. So tampoco no es que tú digas, bueno.
But again, what I would be curious to know was, were they asked to make an interpretation of these comic book characters?
This is what he turned in initially, this guy.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that this, I don't know how this turned into this with the tamale. Una bolsa plástica de tamale.
Wow.
I will say this, kids. As we all know by now, I am a huge comic book nerd. I will be going to New York Comic Con in October. I am here for it. I love it. These are my people. I've got tattoos all over my body. But bro, do better, DC. Like, do better. It's that thing of like, I appreciate
Has
effort.
DC gotten flack just because of this, or other things as
for
well?
this. It's funny because the flack that they've gotten in more recent times is actually because they've become more inclusive in their superhero representation. So, for instance, Superman's son, Jonathan Kent, recently, he's also Superman now, recently came out as bisexual, as did Robin Tim Drake. And
Where are these people coming out and doing all these things
in their comic books?
Wasn't Superman dead?
In like 1995.
Okay, I feel that any conversation about this would be similar to me bringing up like the baseball. Like, let's talk about sports data. That you'll be like, sure.
I'll be like, absolutely.
I'll be like, I just learned that
right.
there's
RBI.
there's Aquaman. There's,
Yes, it's a whole kingdom.
Oh,
Yes.
well, yeah. Who are the lost city of Atlantis? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there's a trans hero now. So, I mean, it's, again, to your point, DC's gotten flack, but like on the other side, right? Which is, oh, you're becoming too woke. You're becoming too this, that, and the other. So I don't know if DC felt like, hey, let's just swing the pendulum the other way now. Let's find the balance somewhere in the middle by going the extreme.
Yeah.
But I just think it's one of those things that, like, is it in and of itself offensive? No. Because, food is part of our culture. It is. Like, we're not going to sit here.
It was done in a very lazy way.
But right. But when you see that there were other illustrations submitted that didn't rely on that, then that changes the conversation more so too.
I mean, the tamales thing isn't a lie, but again, I that's not the way I would have gone.
Right.
That's
Although kudos to Hawkgirl for going to get plátano maduro.
yeah, that's not the way I would have gone with that. Yeah, I mean, who knows? I feel that with like these big conglomerates, it's sort of like there's so many, I imagine, suits and departments and people making decisions that who knows how something started,
Right, and where it ended, and
where
why.
it ended, and why, and how was it watered down, and how was it changed. There's probably like a million people like giving an input, and I think that probably what happens a lot of times.
And it could have been something as simple, honestly, because I've been in not the same situation, but similar situations where, you're presenting a media strategy to someone. And I've probably used this example before where it's like, you present, well, we're going to be on, Pretty Little Liars and blah, blah, blah. And, the client will be like, well, I don't watch Pretty Little Liars. And I'm like, right, because your target is 12-year-old girls and you're not a 12-year-old girl. So this could have even just been something like, you know what? Nobody's going to recognize those flags. Let's put food in there.
Yeah.
Like, it could have literally just been as simple as that and as careless as that.
Do you still think that
And I would love to know if anybody has anybody I can talk to. I have questions.
do you still think that a month like Hispanic Heritage Month is still necessary?
Yes.
Okay, why?
Well, I think because we're having this conversation about, about being whittled down to our food.
Yes.
I think also in the last couple of years specifically where people keep saying things like, we're not a monolith. to me, that demonstrates that people still think we are.
Let me ask you another question. This is
Okay.
actually something I was reading today about Hispanic Heritage Month, or the ethnicity of being Latin and all that. And they were talking about this guy who he did one of these ancestry things or whatever, and he found out that his great-grandmother was, his great-grandparents actually were Spanish and Portuguese.
Okay.
And he didn't really have any confirmation that they were. I think he thought they were and whatever.
But then he did the ancestry.
But then he did the ancestry.com, and then like he really started researching it, and he found out that his grandparents were Portuguese and Spanish.
Okay.
And the article explained why he didn't know that. I can't remember now, but
Because they were white.
well, no, like why he didn't know about his Latin ancestry.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Well, I can tell you. I can venture
Because
a
I
guess.
think it was something that his mom came to the United States, and well, not his mom, like his great grandmother came to the United States, and she married somebody white, so the last name changed. And,
Right, and it was probably during that time where you tamped down your culture.
So he was saying how, once he found this out, it sort of validated, things that he had felt. And obviously nobody should tell somebody what they
Right, your
feel
feelings
or
are
don't
yours,
feel.
right.
But I guess my bigger question is, or like, and it's not so much, it doesn't have a right or wrong answer. Where do you think that starts and ends? Because, for example, in his particular case, it was through his mom's side.
Right.
It was his
great
grandparents.
Okay, so it was a few generations removed.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. And he is now feeling very Latin, which again, nobody should tell you.
Listen, there are people who were raised in Latin households and don't feel Latin.
But where do you think that starts and ends? Like,
I think that's a toughie. And like you said, there's no right or wrong
because
answer.
because to me, being Latin is an experience. It's an experience.
That's the t-shirt, ladies and gentlemen.
It is. Being Latin is an experience, right?
Yeah.
And there's just so much layers.
Right.
So much. Just like there are in other ethnicities and other races and stuff like that. Being black is an experience.
Yeah.
Asian
is
good,
yeah.
good and unfortunately bad too,
yeah.
of because they have to deal with discrimination and racism and all that stuff. So to me, the experience is very important. So I guess I'm trying to in my mind, try to figure out how maybe somebody who maybe root-wise does have an extended or foreign heritage or lineage to being Latin, but maybe the way they were raised, the parents were raised, was not. So how do you feel Latin? What is Latin to you?
Oye, mi gente, Ish here with a great new zero-waste refill delivery service que lo tiene todo. Pantry items, personal care items, cleaning products, even some of your local faves, usually only found at the farmer's market. So what's this delivery service changing how you do groceries while helping save the planet? It's called The Rounds, and they're making deliveries in Miami, Philadelphia, Atlanta, and DC. They're like a modern-day milkman. Bueno, if the milkman doubled as an undercover eco-warrior. Most items, from almonds to pasta to dish soap, come in reusable containers. Once you're done, you just leave your empties in your tote bag outside your door, and The Rounds picks up your empties, washes, and reuses them, helping reduce those single-use plastics that are choking our landfills. And what's better than stocking your home while helping the environment and local businesses with The Rounds? How about getting 15% off your first order? That's right. Visit therounds.co, click join now, and use promo code PERO for 15% off todo in your order. Even if you order every item. Así que what are you waiting for? Head over to therounds.co to save 15% using promo code PERO on your first order. Sustainable, zero waste, delivered to your door, and 15% off. What more could you ask for? Start making The Rounds today. So, are you asking me
Yeah,
what is
sure.
Latin to
Well,
me? Oh, okay.
Because take a conversation.
Because I was gonna say, I think that in this instance, of this gentleman, I feel like if you don't really have a grasp on your background, and you're one of these people who wants to know it, once you know what it is, you dive head first and you just start to embrace it. Because if that's something that you've just always wanted to know about and nobody has given you the answer, now you have the answer, and you always felt something was missing, right? So I can understand how someone like that maybe like final piece of the puzzle. And immerse themselves in it and make themselves feel like this is what was missing because I didn't know this part of myself or what have you. It's not a Hillary Baldwin sitch.
Hilaria.
She can call herself what she wants. I'm calling homegirl Hillary. But for me being
Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Hilaria Baldwin.
You know what? That's going to be what we're going to post. We're going to post a picture of Hilaria Baldwin saying Happy Hispanic Heritage Month.
Awesome. No, we totally are doing it.
Her and Lana Del Rey.
Why? Is there something with Lana Del Rey?
Well, she's not Hispanic.
Right. She just made up that name?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But she's never hid that she's not. Right. As for what does it mean to me to be Latin or Hispanic, I mean, I can obviously
because the reason
I can only speak to a similar angle as you because we grew up in the thick of it.
But the reason I say that is because, for example, and again, I'll say it again, you can't disvalidate somebody's feelings, right? If that is what you feel, absolutely no one should tell you
you're wrong.
You're wrong, or that you shouldn't feel that because that's what you feel. So I want to make that very clear.
And at least this is a positive
but
feeling.
That's sort of like right now I did one of those tests and I found out, which in the likelihood I probably am, because at one point in time Spain was a lot of parts of Spain were Jewish, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If I found out that
if you go back far enough, we're all
I have Jewish ancestry,
right?
I have not been raised Jewish in any stretch of the imagination, so I can't identify as Jewish, even if my lineage were to take me there.
Yeah, I don't care how many dreidels you spin.
Right?
Yeah.
I it's funny because I tell Tristan all the time, because Tristan tells me because when I was in third grade, my third grade teacher was Jewish, so we celebrated Hanukkah. We did all the Hanukkah traditions, and I had a lot of Jewish teachers growing up, and I'm so fortunate that I did.
You went to white elementary school.
I did, because it exposed me to that. I mean, I was 8 years old, and I was a freaking Cuban little kid that had just been here 7-8 years.
And you were singing dreidel,
I
made you
and
out
having
of clay.
Like that's actually a great experience.
That is a great experience,
that I had that growing up.
Right.
But I can't pretend to be like, oh, well, I found out that my great grandparents were Jewish. They're Ashkenazi, so I'm totally I'm a Jew. Right? Because I think that the culture and the experience that to me that is what makes you identify as such. So I
do you think that, and only to follow your example, to use Judaism, do you think that because Judaism is also a religion, it's different in some people's eyes? You know what I mean? Like,
no, because I see Judaism, obviously it's a religion, but I see it as like a culture.
Yes, but people assume in order for me to become Jewish or to identify Jewish culture, I have to, quote unquote, become Jewish. Whereas you don't become Portuguese.
I mean, maybe, but when I think about it in terms of Judaism, I think about the cultural aspects.
Right. But I'm saying maybe that's, again, just to use Judaism as the example you put forth, maybe that's why some people don't.
Because I could go right now and be like, I'm gonna be a Jewish and go to the Jewish Learning Center and do all the things I need to do, right, to become Jewish.
Right.
And I may be Jewish, but
you're not culturally.
I'm not culturally Jewish, or at least I haven't been for over 40 years.
This is true.
So again, because I do think that being Latin is an experience. It really, really is. And a lot of times people say like, oh, if you don't speak Spanish, are you really Latin? I do think that the language is a very big part of it, but I don't think it's the only part of it. And I
No,
don't think
of course not.
I don't think if you don't speak Spanish,
That's it. You're kicked
that's
out of
it.
the club.
Yeah, we were taking your Latino card away.
Right.
You know, because there's so much more than just language, although language does play a big part of it.
Right.
But again, like from the family, I mean, can you really be Latin and have never been to a quinces?
Oh, we should find this guy's Twitter handle and invite him to one.
This is how it is. No, but you know what? But you know what though? Like, quinces nowadays are polished. You know,
Fair
events.
enough, but he's never been to one.
Right? No, he's never
been to one, so he doesn't know the difference.
Yeah, he's never been to one.
For him, it's still going to be all spectacle.
Yes. So it's like, okay, esta es la corte.
Esta es la corte.
Hay 15 pareja. It's super tacky, but go with us.
But we love and embrace
So
every
now,
second of
la
it.
quinceañera is going to come out of either a swing,
A conch.
a conch, a swan,
Right.
or a rickshaw.
Or maybe like, it'll just turn and she'll come from behind a wall of flowers.
Yes, I've been to that one too.
I have no doubt.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember her name was Marilyn. Marilyn's 15.
Los quince de Marilyn. We've talked about
Yeah,
Marilyn's
we have.
quinces. Yes.
No, mentira. Esta era Maribel. Maribel's 15s were at the Seville Hotel in Miami Beach, which is still there. And she came out of a vase of flower. Un
búcaro.
Vi un búcaro grandísimo. Here I am trying to say vase. Vase. Un búcaro
Yeah,
grandísimo.
why would you try to say...
Y el búcaro turned. Marilyn's 15s, which Marilyn's 15s were a big deal. Like, my mom went to Burdines to buy a new dress, right?
I'm laughing about the búcaro, but for different
Marilyn's 15s, she came out of a rose petal to the theme of The Young and the Restless.
Oh, yes.
That is on record. I've said that before here.
She was doing it before Mary J.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put...
She was young and restless.
Listen, Marilyn before Mary J.
Yes.
Okay.
And I remember that they had these things that looked like petals around her. And then when it came out, obviously they were more close together. So then
It opened.
It
blossomed.
It blossomed.
Bloomed, if you will.
And I'll never forget because my brother and my two cousins danced those 15s. So we were very invested in these 15s.
Oh, yeah. There was a rental, budget.
Yes. And I went to a lot of the rehearsals. Because that's what you just did. You hung out.
You were like 8. What else were you going to do?
You hung out in the 15 rehearsals, right? Yeah. No, I was older. I was like 10. I was like 10 because my brother was already of high school age.
Okay, still. You were 10.
But anyway, Marilyn was 15.
This is true.
And I'll never forget.
No, she was 14 at that time.
Why?
Well, because she didn't turn 15 until the quinces. So during the rehearsal, she was 14.
Yeah. No, but sometimes a lot of times quinceañeras had their 15s in the summer. Because that's when you weren't in school, so you could go to the rehearsals.
Oh, okay.
Right, you got to plan.
There's a strategy.
And I remember, I'll never forget, that in her 15s, there was a part at the end that she, like after the whole presentation was over, that she came out and walked around the stage while audio of her played, thanking everybody and thanking her parents.
She had voiceover?
Yes, and I'm like, and it was modeled after Miss Universe. You know when Miss Universe comes out at the end and she's the reigning Miss Universe? She's like, I want to thank the Miss Universe competition.
Oh my God, I want voiceover.
Yes. And her 15s was, I'm telling you, like it was the first season that we had a whole episode on quinceañeras.
And they were mostly about Marilyn.
Yes. Because also her 15s were... the first 15s I went to, that there were costume changes and props.
Ooh.
Yes, because I remember they did the Jailhouse Rock. So they all had to switch.
Well, yeah, you can't do a hip swivel with those dresses. Yeah.
They all did. They didn't wear the jail outfit. They wore the black jacket with the number. With the inmate number.
Okay.
Right. But I remember, though, that there was a kid who was behind, like, a jail cell. And I remember they made the jail cell out of PVC and they painted it black. Like, I remember all of this. And her 15s were at the German American Social Club on Miller Road.
It's still there? Wow.
But, my favorite 15s were not there. My favorite 15s, and I went to many of them, and if you're from Miami, this little iota
nugget of joy
is for you. The best 15s were at Pyramid Banquet Hall.
Well, I mean, it's called Pyramid.
It's a Pyramid Banquet Hall.
I mean,
I in Coral Way in 107.
I mean, frankly, it's Coralway's version of the Luxor.
Pyramid Banquet Hall was a Luxor before the Luxor Las
There you
Vegas
go.
was a Luxor. Pyramid Banquet Hall, where I'm sure if the fire marshal came, he would tell you, you have 3 times the capacity here. Because Pyramid Banquet Hall probably could seat comfortably 60, 70 people, but somehow they would jam-pack 200 people in there.
So they had more people inside the Pyramid Banquet Hall
Did
than
you
would
ever
have
go to a
actually
party there?
taken to build a
Did you
pyramid.
ever go to a party there at
don't
Pyramid
think so.
Banquet Hall? And listeners, if you ever went to Pyramid Banquet Hall during its heyday, please send us feedback.
Send us DMs with pictures.
We would love to
Yeah,
hear
send us
from
pictures.
you. It's still there. It's called Olga's Banquet Hall now. And have you ever been to a party there?
I don't.
The bar was a pyramid.
Okay, where is this on Coral Way?
Chico, this is on Coral Way in 107th by the shopping center that's there. Behind a...
Where the Dunkin' Donuts is?
No.
Donde estaba Benny's Puerto Rican?
Yes.
Okay. Which I don't think that's there anymore, but
No.
but yes.
Denny's hasn't been there for like 10 years.
but you know what I'm
But
talking
yes,
about. Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Pyramid
No,
Banquet Hall.
I've never been
In
to that
Pyramid
banquet hall.
Banquet Hall, if you needed to go up to the bathroom to go to the bathroom or get up in the middle of the choreography, you couldn't because the chair of the person behind you that was in the other table was like, right there. Like you couldn't get up. And I no cabía nadie, but somehow they would make it work. They probably paid off the fire marshal.
I wouldn't have any doubt in my mind.
Yeah, but I mean, can you really be Latin without going to 15s?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Let's find this guy.
Can you really be Latin without watching novelas or having grown up watching novelas?
Well, no, but you can catch up on those now thanks to, streaming.
Yeah. But that's why I'm telling you, it's part of the experience.
No, I get where you're coming from, but I also understand that there are people who, just always felt like they were missing something. And if you're one of those people and you find that final piece of the puzzle, it must be
Maybe
very...
he had all these interests that he couldn't...
Right, he was just like, why do I like Castañuela so much?
Why am I so loud?
Yeah, I love all these...
Why do I talk with my hands? Okay, that's genetic.
That is genetic.
Yeah. That you have it in you.
That you want to talk nature versus nurture?
Yeah. I mean...
That is nature full force. Full
So, yeah.
mother trucking force.
Latin, it's an experience.
It's an experience. Being Latin is an experience. Ay, Dios mío.
Well, speaking
Excuse me.
of being Latin, ¿viste
Yes.
lo que pasó esta semana?
Well, yes. I mean, sometimes if you're Latin, you get a trip you didn't even know you were going to
To
take.
Martha's Vineyard.
You know what I love? Okay, tell the story, but my favorite part is the fact that de todos los lugares que podían atravesar.
So earlier this week, our governor Ron DeSantis took it was about 50 migrants and
some Venezuelans were peppered in there.
yes, and shipped them off to Martha's Vineyard. They didn't know where they were going. In fact, when they got to Martha's Vineyard, they were like, "Where in the world are we?" Like they didn't know where they were going. Nobody gave them any information. Literally put them on a plane and send them to Martha's Vineyard.
I mean, at least it's somewhere nice.
Right. Obviously, he the reason he did this is actually no, he said verbatim why he
it's
did
political
this
theater
because he says that Florida is not a sanctuary state, whereas Massachusetts is, and they could go live out in greener pastures, but not here in the state of Florida. So here's what I have to say about that.
Fuck you, Ron DeSantis.
So all these people that he put on that plane, they had already applied for asylum.
Oh, really?
Yes. So they weren't here illegally. They were waiting for their court date.
Where
Because-
did he?
Once the moment.
Where did he find these people? Because this is what I can't wrap my head around. Like, how did he get them on a plane?
I'm not 100% sure, like where they if they cherry picked them,
Like, did
or
they
if
just
they
put, like,
were
sacks
if
over
they,
their head
if
and
they
push them
happened to
on,
be
like-
somewhere together. But these were people who have already filed for asylum.
So no es que cruzaron la frontera and they grabbed them and plopped them on a plane.
well, or
like within a day.
right?
of-
No, these people have already been processed.
Okay.
Right, these people have already been processed.
Okay.
So they're waiting for a court date.
So this is not a sanctuary situation.
Well, it is and it isn't.
Well,
it
because
is and it isn't.
But once you've applied, you're no longer seeking sanctuary. You're.
What I'm
right?
trying to say is that these weren't people that were like here illegally and were like kind of hiding,
Right,
under, hiding
right,
here.
right,
Oh, don't
right.
catch me, or like
Trying to be under the radar.
Under the radar, like no, these are people who came here.
Applied.
Right? Applied for asylum, which is legal to apply for asylum.
Were granted.
You actually have a right to file for asylum. and they're waiting their court date. So these are people that are being processed. So technically, they're not here at the moment illegal. Now,
If they get denied,
yes.
Right.
But these are people have not been denied. So that's a very, very important distinction to know, because the law states that if you enter this country, let's say, quote unquote, illegally,
right.
you have the right to seek asylum. Obviously,
We have the right to deny or whatever.
You
but
seek asylum based on different
Claro,
reasons,
sí.
right? You have a right to seek asylum. You have a right to a hearing, and then obviously they
can either deny or,
right. So these people were actually following the law, because again, let me stress this again: seeking asylum is a right that you have. It's not a favor that they're doing you.
Whether you're granted that asylum is a different story.
So again, it's not that these people came in here illegally; they stayed under the radar, and then they caught them.
Right.
No, they actually went and
they did what they had to do.
They did what
they were supposed to do
when you cross the border. In that way, you seek asylum. So, again, technically, right now they're not illegal, right? But he shipped them on a plane and to Martha's Vineyard.
Question: they're waiting for their court date. Their court date is here in Florida, right?
I
would assume.
I imagine it's not in Martha's Vineyard.
Correct. Not many courts in Martha's Vineyard, I would assume.
Right.
So essentially, these people now would have to make their way back.
I'm not sure how that's going to work out. Like,
no. But I'm saying,
because the thing is that when they make these decisions.
Oh, also, can we remind our listeners how much this cost us in taxpayer money?
10 to 12 million.
It was $12 million.
Right.
For this puffy-faced motherfucker to grandstand.
Right. So here's the thing about, and I've said this a million times. I'm a progressive. I'm a liberal. I don't think we should have open borders.
Of course not.
I don't.
You can't just let everybody just walk.
I don't think. Yeah, I think there needs to be some type of protection at the border. I think there needs to be a system. There needs to be resources at the border, and there needs to be accommodations as to how do you
handle the situation?
How do you handle the situation in these people when they come to the border? Right. So I'm not one of these people, because there are that are like, oh, you should just let everybody in, and people are trying to escape whatever in their native countries.
They're not bad people,
and
blah,
they're
blah,
not
blah,
bad people. Right. All that is true, but I do believe that you need to know who's coming into the United States.
Absolutely.
Right.
Oh yeah.
But
you can't just show up in the UK and be like, I live here now.
But they need to be treated with respect, with dignity, right? Humanely.
And not treated as a chess piece.
And the fact that you think it's okay to take a human being and their family who left their country, right?
And do whatever you want with them.
For reason,
for their reasons.
Well, no, it's usually very valid reasons.
But Darian,
right?
at this point,
and you could just use them as a political pawn and like a toy, like a disposable toy. Like, how can you think that's okay? Because I think that you could be pro legal immigration and still, like, these people that have very conservative and very narrow stance on immigration. Mm-hmm. I think you could be that and still think like, hey, this is not the most prudent thing to do, to use these people like a toy, like a prop. That you're just
going to
put them on a plane and boom, and send them over there. And then you're going to have a press conference
to talk about how, look at what I did.
Look at what I did. I got rid of 50 illegal migrants, and I sent them somewhere else. You're talking about these are 50 lives. These are 50
Ojalá que él y su
people.
familia jamás y nunca se encuentren en una situación así. Pero déjame decirte algo. I hope that if they do, que se la vean bien mal y bien negra.
Yeah.
Because that shows to me that you, for all of your Christian values, you have the soul that is darker than the freaking Satan's asshole.
And let me say something else. People want to talk about like political affiliations and Democrats versus Republicans, liberals versus conservatives. That liberals.
Isn't Massachusetts a Republican governor?
There is, he is. But in terms of immigration policy, that liberals are generally bad in
immigration policy.
In immigration policy, and they want to let everybody in, and people that are criminals, blah blah blah. Because it's always that argument, right? Oh, but there's people that are criminals and blah 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 blah. Yeah, and
that's valid.
There are a
That's
percentage
valid.
of
That's
people.
why you need to vet people.
There are a percentage of people that come into this country that are criminal. Look, a percentage of Cubans that came in the Maria boat lift were criminals,
yeah.
right? Just
Literally
like
from
there's
the jails.
criminals in every single demographic of every single
Right.
thing of every
But again,
single piece
that's
of data.
valid, and that's why you need to vet people.
Right.
Absolutely.
But what I wanted to say was that under the Obama administration, Obama used to be called the deporter in chief because the amount of deportations that Obama had during his administration were like, I don't know how many times, I forgot the number now, but I don't know how much more than Bush, Clinton, all the previous administrations before him. Because during his tenure as president, they were very, very efficient and very strict on deporting people that had criminal records and things like that. Right. They used to call him the deporter in chief. Bet you didn't hear that, and a lot of people didn't hear that. Why? Because they did what they had to do, or what they thought they needed to do, and they didn't make political theater out of it. They didn't go out there and be like, "Guess what we did today?" Right?
Like this week is
right?
awful.
They didn't inflame a situation that is already a bad situation.
Use people as props,
right? So that's one of those things that you have to know. History, you have to know precedent, you have to know what different administrations have done. So you can really have a full spectrum and a real opinion on something rather than just go by a meme, which, as I say, people base political opinions today on memes, or just, the thing is that politics has become today a show, like a circus show.
It's political theater.
It is a theater. It's like, welcome.
Welcome and bienvenue.
Right.
Yeah.
And whoever has, can talk the loudest and say the weirdest stuff. Yeah. We're gonna clap for them.
To quote Andrew Lloyd Webber, she didn't say much, but she said it loud.
Yes. Where's that from?
Evita.
Yes. Yes. What's the line in Evita? I forget how it goes. It's a great line when she says, "They called me a whore. Can you believe they called me a whore?" And the priest was like, "Oh, I gave up the habit years ago." And
it's like, "Señora, perdón, it's an easy mistake. I'm still called an admiral, yet I gave up the seat long ago." Oh. I mean, you want to talk about a backhanded compliment?
Yeah.
I think she'd rather just been called fat.
Yeah. No, it's Evita, not Christina.
But I'm saying she would rather just be called fat.
Man, that's a relationship that has gone through the ups and downs. Christina
and Britney. Oh, I was like, Evita and who? I was like, I'm like, because she's dead.
Just do a duet and get it over with.
They should do a tour together.
You think so?
Why not?
You know who should tour? You and I were talking about this the other day.
Oh yeah. NSYNC.
NSYNC should tour. Yeah, Justin Timberlake, ya dio todo lo que iba a dar.
Yeah,
and that's not a bad thing. I mean,
everybody's career has a certain point.
Yes, he peaked a long time ago. Anyway. He already proved what he needed to prove, and that's fine. That's great. He did a lot. Okay, now it's time for you to come back to NSYNC, tour stadiums.
Go back to your roots.
Tour stadiums. Look, they need to do it in advance because I feel Joey Fatone needs to get in, and I don't mean this as a knockoff to his weight.
Joey Fatone is a man of a certain age,
right? So they need to start training, right? Because endurance is key.
No es lo mismo hacer eso in your 20s than to do it. Yeah, Joey's 50.
These people go on a world tour, so this is like a marathon,
Right. It's you get maybe one night of rest.
Yeah.
And not even, because you probably have to go and do all of the morning shows, and everything's syndicated now, so they just do one and we'll play it across.
Would you go see NSYNC?
I would totally go see it. Because I never did.
Yeah, I did.
I never got to because I was going to go to the, I think it was the Pop Tour, but then the Hurricane.
The Pop Odyssey, yeah.
But the Hurricane.
We had tickets for that, yeah.
Yes, and they canceled. So we went to go see them because they did some type of fundraiser for the Hurricane, like a free concert. And I remember they were playing, and so was Debbie Gibson.
Oh.
On the beach?
To the No Strings Attached tour.
Oh, that must have been a great one.
And I went to their first album tour. I don't know what the name of the tour was. Was it Pop 2K? Was it
No, Pop was Pop was in that last album, the Celebrity album.
Yeah. I forget which one the name of the first tour there is that I went to. I remember when they were touring with Janet Jackson.
Her opening act.
They were the opening act for the Velvet Rope. Man, but that was like really early on in NSYNC.
That was your only famous in Europe NSYNC.
Yeah. So who do you like more, the NSYNC or the Backstreet Boys?
Well, I love a dance. I'm a performer. I'm a dancer. So for me, NSYNC always had the spectacle.
Yeah. So I'm going to break a lot of hearts with what I'm about to say.
Oh, no.
during the time I liked NSYNC more, but now I like Backstreet Boys more.
I think musically Backstreet is better.
I think musically, I'm gonna get a lot of shit from somebody that I know. I think, and it's not a dig at NSYNC. It's
comparing the
I
two.
think that Backstreet Boys music has aged a little bit better because Backstreet Boys had like more ballads,
Right.
And they were more of
Mid-tempo.
they were more of I don't even want to say that they sing better, but they're
About harmonies.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for.
Harmonies.
They're more of a harmony group.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they have like a lot of like R&B and slow like ballads and stuff like that. Yeah. Whereas NSYNC was more.
NSYNC was a dance group, and then Backstreet Boys was the ballad group.
I freaking love. I have no shame in saying this. I love the NSYNC. What's the song of NSYNC I really like?
Which album?
It's tearing up my heart
Tearing Up My Heart.
when I'm with you.
Yeah, tearing up my heart.
Yeah, and I love actually.
That's the first album.
I like that one, and I love I Just Wanna Be With You.
Is that first
Girl,
album too?
that's all I want. And then I love lying in your arms.
Crazy?
I drive myself
Crazy.
crazy.
There was so much insanity during that time on the charts.
What else?
Britney's crazy.
Oh.
Them crazy. I'm sure there was somebody else who was, going crazy. And
Pink
something.
was crazy.
Pink. Yeah, it's funny because I was thinking of Pink. I'm like, she has to have a song that's something about crazy.
Yeah. So yeah. That was you know what I think is so great?
That we went from talking about
No,
Governor
no, no, no,
DeSantis deporting people
Yes,
to another
of
state
course.
to insane.
I love going on YouTube and the music of that time and seeing Backstreet Boys, Britney, Christina, Jessica Simpson, all these people.
Which actually, I bought a luggage a suitcase yesterday. And it's from the Jessica Simpson collection.
Oh yeah,
And I didn't.
You got it at Marshalls, didn't you?
I did. I didn't know she had a luggage collection.
She has $1 billion company, so she probably has things in that collection that you never dreamed
My
of.
favorite part though is that when I look at the thing and it's like brand Jessica Simpson, name, so it's like a mint green, but the name of my luggage, my suitcase, is Vixen.
Oh. Well, I love reading YouTube comments of like all these videos because it's like people are like, oh my God, that's when music was great. Oh my God, these songs are
nostalgia.
so amazing. And I'm like, when these people were out,
You probably hated them.
they used to get so much shit because everybody used to say they were manufactured, that they weren't real musicians, that it was all show.
What is it that we say about the girls,
About,
the Spice Girls?
oh yeah.
That they sold, millions and millions and millions of albums, but nobody listened to them.
Right.
Nobody
People
was-
are like,
no,
oh, the Spice Girls suck. And it's
I
like,
don't listen to them. I don't know.
it's like, how did they sell like 80
Right.
million records
Right.
in like 2 years? But yeah, like I remember specifically with all these like music of the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, for freaking sake, now looking back on that documentary on Woodstock 99, Fred Durst went on a whole rant about who hates NSYNC, who hates the Backstreet Boys. That freaking literally fired up the crowd.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh my God, remember those days of that great music?
But dude, hair glam rock, got shit too, and now we listen to it and we're like, oh my God, what a great song.
Where's Hoku?
Well, she's Don Ho's daughter, so she's probably doing pretty okay.
She's probably good.
She's okay in Hawaii.
Is she in Hawaii?
Well, Don Ho's Hawaiian, so I would assume.
Well, yes.
No, so I would assume she's in Hawaii.
That was her shtick.
Right.
Now when I think of her, I think of Reese Witherspoon.
Well, yes, because of Legally Blonde.
Yeah. What was the other song? Actually, that song from Legally Blonde wasn't her single.
No, her single was Another Dumb Blonde.
I don't even know how that goes.
I can't think of it right now because all I can think of is Perfect Day, which is from Legally Blonde.
Right. But then again, emo music was also going on at that time.
That's true. There was a lot happening.
You know a song I love from that time? Drive, Incubus. Good song. Whatever tomorrow brings,
yes.
I'll be... Oh, and ¿te acuerdas? I'm not a perfect person.
That's such a good song.
But that's not Incubus.
No, I know.
I found the reason
That's not Gin
be-
Blossoms. No. I
Dude,
can't.
Gin Blossoms are going different time.
No, but my head is just going through like names right now. I'm just going down like a list in my head. And
Shit, wait, who sings that?
And the
you Hoobastank.
Thank you. I actually had that album. No, that was from their second album. I had their first album.
What was in their first album?
I don't remember right now, but I know I had the first album.
Oye, ¿qué está haciendo Vitamin C?
Well, Colleen, I think is
Does she have a talk show in Germany or something?
probably, but I think she's like a music executive now. That's what happens with all these people, like because they work in the industry, they become A&R people. They become some administrator somewhere.
I guess.
The thing with her is that she's probably like in her mid-50s by now.
Why was she older than us?
She was old when she came out as Vitamin C. She was like 30.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
But she did the graduation song.
Yeah, but she played Velma, the bad girl, the villain girl, in the Ricky Lake Hairspray.
Oh.
Yeah.
So she's like Ricky Lake's age.
Right.
Wow.
I'm actually looking it up
You learn a lot
right
of things
now.
in one day.
Vitamin C singer. Let's see.
And listeners, if you've been with us up to now, thank you.
She's 50.
She's 50 because I'm tired today.
You're tired? Do you need a soda?
It's just fatigué.
Oh. Well, look, in March of 2012, actually, since early 2019, she has served as a music executive for Netflix.
So you totally made that up and you were right.
Yep. It's a safe bet with all these former pop stars.
So is that what Hoku's doing?
Oh, you're going to make me look up
What is
Hoku?
Lita Ford doing?
Lita Ford. She's probably just... I picture Lita Ford on a motorcycle.
Who used to sing Get Over Yourself Goodbye? Wait.
That was Eden's crush.
Okay, who's Eden's crush? Why do I know
Eden's crush was... Nicole Scherzinger was in Eden's crush before she joined the Pussycat Dolls.
Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what's in my head instead of algebra. Literally, this is what's in my head instead of algebra.
or calculus. That means you plus me equals us.
Okay,
Wait, one of them died.
The youngest one.
That was ¿Cómo se llama ellos?
Okay, in March 2018, Hoku released an EP titled "Called by Name," and it's her first Christian EP.
Okay, so she's doing Christian music.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, that's great.
Oh, she lives in California.
I wonder what it says about me that from that time my favorite person is Mandy Moore. It really is.
Well, she's had longevity, so I guess
really
it says
is.
something.
I don't know. There was just something about Mandy Moore, not at the very beginning.
I was gonna say because you did not like Candy,
I can't
Mandy
stand
Moore.
that song, Candy.
You did not like
I
that video.
can't stand that song. But shortly thereafter, there was just something about her I really liked. I could tell, not that I'm like, this, whatever. I could tell that wasn't really her.
That she was like, you know what? Fine.
Yeah, I could tell
Fine. I want this, so let's see where this goes.
There was more there.
Right.
Well, and there
was more to Amanda Lee.
I actually have her latest album.
What's her? What? She released something during.
She released an album too.
During This Is Us.
She released 2 albums during This Is Us.
Oh wow!
And she released an album a few months ago. There's a song called 4 Moons on her latest album that I love. Check it out, people. Mandy Moore. It's not what you think. And
actually, nothing after her.
It's
second
called
album.
In Real Life. Her album, and she went on tour, but she canceled her tour.
That's right.
Because of the pregnancy.
That's right.
But she had a bunch of shows. Don't you remember me
that
telling
were in Orlando?
Yeah. Don't you remember me telling you that? I was like, shit, I wish you would come to Miami because I would go. I would be the only person there. I wouldn't.
Well, I'd go with you.
Now that you said Orlando, and we're talking about like pop
90s pop,
90s, early 2000s pop, I will never forget the time we went to Universal Studios. So remember, like listeners, like when Islands of Adventure first came out.
Oh wow, those are the
first opened. Escúchame a mí, first came out.
Yeah.
When Islands of Adventure first opened, did you guys like go a lot? Because we used to go like every weekend. I feel
that first time you ride the Hulk.
The first time you ride the Hulk. You want to talk about an experience? That's an experience.
That's an experience.
And especially back then that there wasn't social media. So you didn't know. You didn't know about the sling.
Right. I mean, you heard about it, but you didn't know.
Yeah. Like, I remember thinking with the first time we went to the Hulk being like, oh my God, when we get to the top, let's wave our hands. Yeah, no, that didn't happen.
There was no time for that.
There was no time for that. That is a great ride, the Hulk.
That is a great
I got to tell you. That is a great ride. But I remember at the time that we went to Islands of Adventure and at the Hard Rock and City place.
Oh, yes.
Robbie Williams was going to play there.
Like the next weekend or something.
Yes, and I don't know who it was. Was it you that you were like, you should go see him? You're not going to have a chance to see him.
If only we had known. And it's true. Just one weekend away from the ego landing.
Yeah, we had to wait 20 years.
Exactly.
To see Robbie Williams. But we saw him, damn it.
Yes, we did.
So, listeners, what is your favorite late 90s pop?
Early aughts pop.
Westworld, not Westworld. No, wait.
Westlife.
Westlife. Why do I should know Westlife because they did a song with Mariah.
Westlife, is that the one with Ronan Keating? No. Ronan Keating was Boyzone.
Why do we know this?
Again, what's in my head instead of algebra?
Why do I remember Ronan Keating? You know. Also,
actually, his album Destination is great.
But you know why though? Because during those years were the years that I went a lot to Europe,
and also we were always at the Virgin Megastore.
And I was always at the Virgin Megastore.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, you know,
you were gonna learn about Ronan Keating.
Listen, I bought import albums just based on the cover.
So did I.
So, because back then, you know, where would you listen to it? Like, you couldn't listen to it online. So I'm like, no. I like this
and
cover.
And Blockbuster, which had the listening stations, didn't have imports.
Right. No, they did have imports, but some of them you couldn't open.
Oh.
Right? Because they were like, you know, an import was like $30.
Oh, yeah. A single was like a good $10, $15.
Now tell me about it.
Yes, I know. We still have them.
Yes. So, the import section of the record store.
Yes.
It's funny because the other day I was at the Petco, you know, the Petco here at...
Don't they used to be a Blockbuster?
Yes. And I'm like, oh, it's a pet store now. Like, over there estaba listening section. Aquí estaba the imports and whatever.
Here was the new releases that never had new releases.
Soda time.
All right. So do you want to go first?
I am going to go first.
Knock yourself out.
So I'm going to give my last soda today to Bob Costas.
Oh, okay.
So I've obviously, well, who doesn't know Bob Costas? But my connection with Bob Costas is the Olympics, obviously.
Right.
Because, you know, I'm a huge fan of the Olympics. I live and breathe all 21 days of Olympic glory. If you come to my house, I have an entire section in my library of just Olympic memorabilia and books and stuff like that.
We've done opening ceremony parties.
We've had opening ceremony parties. That is sort of how Ping Pong Pollo started.
It kind of is.
Because I did Korean chicken wings when they were in Pyeongchang, South Korea in 2018, and that's kind of where it started. So we have the Olympics to thank for Ping Pong Pollo.
True. Thank you, IOC.
So that's how I know Bob Costas, but I was actually listening to an interview of him on the Chris Cuomo podcast. Mm-hmm. So I actually don't listen to that many podcasts, but Chris Cuomo is one of the ones that I do listen to, and it was surprising because I wasn't a huge Chris Cuomo fan on CNN. Mm-hmm. Not one way or another. You just weren't. I weren't because again, I don't care too much for these like opinion-based political shows, news shows. Got it. And even a podcast is different. But he does have a podcast now, and I actually enjoy it. And the other day, he had Bob Costas on, and they did talk about politics at the end, which Bob Costas until now had been a very non-political figure. Like he wouldn't talk about politics.
Well, yeah,
but
he's a sports guy.
We live in very different times now, and just the way, and this is why I wanted to give my last soda to him. Because the way that he speaks, how eloquently he speaks, he's so measured, so intelligent, but humble at the same time. It was just sort of kind of refreshing to hear such intelligent, again, measured, leveled commentary in this day and age.
Especially from somebody who's not traditionally communicating that.
Right. Because they were talking about politics, and they talked about some pretty heavy stuff. Obviously, they talked about Trump and January 6th and stuff like that. But it was very not like, oh my God, because Republicans are trying to ruin the, who do they think they are? Right. And, it was very like
measured.
And it's like, wow, I hope that I am able to speak like Bob Costas about like these matters or whatever.
Right.
Because it's just such an intelligent, classy way of speaking and conveying yourself that I feel is so missing from discourse nowadays in all aspects in both the political world, social media world, because so often we complain about this all the time. People just attack each other, insult each other, and And that's one of the reasons why you can't have dialogue and
Right.
intelligent, measured conversation. And it was just, again, very, very refreshing to hear. So I invite everybody to listen to Bob Costas on the Chris Cuomo podcast. And again, I really enjoy people like that can communicate like that. So my soda to Bob.
Well, there you go. I'm sure Bob enjoys a nice refreshing soda.
Yes.
He seems like the type that would.
Yes.
So my last soda is actually kind of, it's a little fortuitous that this announcement was made on the first day of Hispanic Heritage Month. So as you know, we love Only in Dade. We've had Only in Dade on our show. We've had many people. We've done stuff with them. And if you follow Only in Dade, they have several like correspondents. Several people who do bits and interviews, and one of them is this. I don't know how old he is, but he looks very young. His name is Marcelo Hernandez.
Yes.
And again, guys, if you've been on Only in Dade, even remotely, you've seen him. Well, this week it was just announced that he's trading Only in Dade for Live from New York at Saturday night. He is going to be one of the 4 new cast members.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I freaking love his voice because he sounds so much older than he is.
Yep, he is.
He's gonna be on SNL.
He's gonna be one of the 4 new featured players on SNL. So congrats,
huge
man!
Honor.
That's
Congratulations.
Open invitation. We'd obviously love to have him on the show. I wanted to have him on before, but now more so. But wow, tremendo.
He is really young though.
Yeah, he can't be more than 25.
Yeah.
Now watch, he's like 42, and he just looks young. But yeah, and again, I know. Especially, we like to on here. We celebrate, when somebody from the quote unquote neighborhood, makes it big. And I think you can't get bigger on TV really than SNL. It's an institution. It's iconic.
I've always thought like the audition process for SNL must be like insane.
It's a weird process actually, because the audition. And Marcelo, please come on our show and talk about what the process was, but. I feel like it's different for different people, because he's a stand-up, he does stand-up, he's opened for like, not anymore because he passed away, but he opened for Gilbert Gottfried, like he's done stand-up. A lot of times what happens is Lorne, like I know him, Lorne Michaels, has...
Our friend Lorne
from Canada. He has people who kind of like scout in cities at comedy clubs. And if they think that somebody's, material worthy... then they'll be like, dude, you should come check this kid out, or this person out. And so then Lorne Michaels will go and check them out, and then it becomes. So it's my understanding is that it's not necessarily like we're holding auditions, come and audition. It's you are hand selected to audition.
Right, and I also probably feel that SNL, when they hire, they go on hiring,
especially this where they lost so many people.
They have to, the people in SNL, they're good in different things.
Right. So it's like, okay, we need an impressionist. We need a singer. We need a stand-up. We need, whatever. So, yeah. So congrats, man. Like
that's awesome.
That is so fucking cool.
I'm going to sort of miss him on Only in Dade, but then again, he's going to be on SNL. So,
only the best for him. Like,
yeah, that's awesome. Wow. So yeah, let's have him on the show and get tickets because
that too.
It's funny because like who doesn't want to go to SNL? Yeah. And I've taken the NBC
the
tour 30 Rock, and it's like it's like a 20% chance, and it's like you have more chances of winning the lottery.
And I'm sure now with COVID, it's even less.
Yeah, I have always wanted to go to a taping of SNL.
Same,
because I think it must be such organized chaos.
That's the best way to put it, I think.
Yeah, like to watch that happen.
Yeah.
SNL really is a great show.
And just I'm putting it out there too, perfectly okay with going to the SNL rehearsal. Marcelo, if you hear this, I know that's not the one that goes live, but sometimes those are the sketches that actually get shared, and
right.
So I'm okay with a rehearsal,
because I feel that SNL, like obviously if you watch SNL throughout the years, there's skits that fall flat.
It can't always hit,
but when it hits. It hits. It's so well. That's why they're so iconic.
Yeah, almost 40 years.
What are some of your favorites? I love Penelope by Christian Wiig's Penelope.
Penelope is great.
That is. I remember the first time I saw Penelope, because I feel that Penelope, you have to know the character to really appreciate it, right?
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I saw it, I'm like, but what is wrong with her?
The thing is,
right?
that I know several people like her.
Without any context of the character.
Right.
But then when you realize that it was Penelope the character,
Right.
and then they did subsequent skits on it,
Right.
it was that is probably in my top 3.
For me, it's funny because I don't think of it in terms of skit, like characters. I think of in terms of just skits that to me are super memorable.
You're thinking of Heather Locklear,
I'm
aren't you?
totally thinking of Heather Locklear.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Sofia Vergara. Sofia Vergara for me has 2.
Sofia Vergara's shampoo Pantene commercial.
Right. And the one where she's like narrating the Hunger Games.
That one's good too, but the Pantene
is great.
And go away. Never understand.
I have to say hair.
Pretty. People, look up Sofia Vergara Pantene commercial SNL.
It's great. It's great. And I mean, of course, then there's the classics like the church lady, who I freaking
Well,
adore.
you know who I have a soft spot for, but you're not a fan of, is The Lonely Island.
Yeah,
Their digital short.
I don't
I'm on a
get
boat, Dick in a Box.
don't-
You don't like Dick in a Box?
No.
You don't. Okay. You don't like do you like any of the Dick in the Box trilogy? Because it's a trilogy.
Okay, that's weird. But
It's Dick in a Box.
Uh-huh.
Then
It's not gay if it's
Mother
a-
Lover.
Okay.
With Susan Sarandon.
And then Lady Gaga's the one
And
where
Lady Gaga is not gay
If
if
it's-
it's in a three-way,
in a three-way.
with a lady with a lady in the middle. There's some leeway.
I just don't get it. I just don't.
You don't get it.
I
really.
don't. I don't find it funny. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't. I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but I don't. I don't get Lonely Island.
You don't think I'm on a boat is funny?
No.
Okay. Wow.
I just don't get it.
Anyway.
And you know that my humor is pretty wide. It's pretty broad.
Okay, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one. Just like we agree to disagree on Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah. No, I'm right and you're wrong.
Okay. So Ish and I have this like long thing that he doesn't think Jimmy Fallon is funny, where I do. I think Jimmy Fallon is hilarious, but you don't think he's funny.
No. I think Jimmy Fallon thinks Jimmy Fallon's funny.
Okay, how about the millions of viewers?
I mean, you can't account for bad taste.
You're being silly now.
I'm being me, and that's all I can be. This is me
Yeah.
then.
All right. Anyway, with
On
that
that note.
You know what I love? I love a Mother Lover, which is a sequel to Dick in a Box. Because Mother Lover is about them sleeping with each other's mothers.
It's MILFs.
Yeah, it's
Right.
Justin Timberlake and Andy Samberg sleeping with each other's mother. I love when they say, this is the second best idea that we've ever had. The first being,
Dick in a box?
of course.
Okay.
I love it. Anyway, with that note, everybody, go watch the Lonely Island digital
We gave
shorts
a lot of
on
homework
YouTube.
today.
On YouTube, we hope you had hope you have a great weekend. Thank you for listening. As always, wow, I'm like totally off my
You
game.
are totally spacing.
This
This is you vamping.
Yes. We hope you listened, laughed, and learned. There, I gotta get the rhythm. We hope you listened, laughed, and learned. And as always, remember to grab your pastelito, your croqueta, and your cafecito. And thank you for joining us.
All right, mi gente, cuídense.
Have a great weekend.
Bye. Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.